Welcome back. As we earlier said in our intro that we're going to be talking about the new initiative to support industry in Egypt, IBDA or commands in Egypt. We're very delighted to be having with us live over the phone Dr. Mustafa Waly, our economic analyst. Good morning, Dr. Waly.
Good morning.
First of all, we would like from you to shed some light over this new initiative, IBDA or commands.
Fine. Good morning to you first and for everybody there.
Good morning to you,
Actually, this initiative is not the end of a lot of a series of initiatives to boost the Egyptian economy and the Egyptian society at large. But the importance of this initiative is that it's tackling and it's targeting the industry and all the scope or the wide scope of industry from heavy industries even down to small and medium and even micro industries projects in this case. So actually the importance is that it can include as many as possible of all the cadres, of all the potential of the Egyptian youth and the expertise who can afford and who can get together and build in each area, available area, to initiate a viable and feasible project. That's the importance. And the government and the leadership of this country is pushing towards this end and doing its best to make it a success story all over the Egyptian country.
Right. We need to know more about its aims and objectives.
Fine. The aims and objectives are evident. Whenever you have what we call, new employment opportunities or creating employment opportunities in a country where youth actually is we have a lot of youth, many youth every year graduates and in the age of work looking for a job. So if we can facilitate, if we can afford to have viable projects, feasible projects, which will turn actually into employment and actual employment, I mean working employment, real ones, this exactly will be a very important step to solve one of the most important, one of the most difficult problems for any developing country like us, which is the unemployment. And you can go after that for many things, When you go to the economy at large, increasing your GDP, which is gross domestic product, increasing it, that immediately will turn into a surplus or an increase in your either export or at least decreasing your import. And in both cases, for a developing country, that's very important because immediately it will turn into what we call raising the standard of living of the nation at large. And the other things, but these are, in my opinion, these are the main.
Right. Exactly whom is it focusing or targeting, this particular initiative? Is it targeted or directed towards youth? Is it directed to the people who have been laid off according to the economic crisis that is overwhelming the whole world and also in some parts or industries in Egypt? Or what exactly is it targeting? The small businesses, maybe?
Well, actually, let's take off the possibility or the reason behind it is this current problem in the world. I mean, what's going on, the difficulty we're facing the world now. Because the initiative actually was long before. I mean, as an ideas and then as planning and then implementation. The most important thing, it copes with what's going on. It proves the importance of localizing, because when we will have a lot of projects, a lot of viable projects on the ground all over the country, then it means that you are increasing your capacity of production of any items you are going through. Then at least this immediately will let the problem of supply, which is coming from the supply chain, because sometimes we have to rely on supply chain. Then if we can explain, if you can exchange it for local production with the quality and with the requirements, with international qualities and world-class products, then immediately this will affect will ease at least the impact of the shortage on the problem on the scale of the world, on the world scale.
Right. So how is it going to help boost industry in Egypt, especially the small and medium enterprises?
Well, small and medium enterprises actually must be, and it is in a way, we have to be very frank actually and tell the truth that it is important, and it is in the heart of the interest and care and thoughts of the leadership of this country, of all fields. I mean, industrial leaders, political leadership, and the reason, and I mean, the evidence is there, because when we talk about small and medium enterprises, we know the scale. We know that international scale of what we call the small and medium enterprises, and we adopt it actually to our standards here, our measurements or our references. And it's working actually, because if you look what the government has done to facilitate the possibility of having a small and medium project or enterprise, actually more in each governorate now, you will find a very well designed and prepared and fully equipped, what we call plug and start, actually, I call it, facilities built according to the requirements, according to the geography of the governorate where we have these industrial zones ready, and the entrepreneur will go there and he will find the suitable area equipped and supplied with all the requirements, from energy to water to sewage and everything. And around him is an industrial community which actually gives you the encouragement to carry on. That was the most important thing, and that's great achievement of our government for the last at least 5 or 6 years now. And you find it everywhere. And the facilities to have it, it's more and more getting easier. I mean, of course, when you have such problems and when you have such projects, you have a lot of problems. I mean, when it comes to procedures and all. So the government itself, is taking care of reducing any hassle concerning starting such a project. To me, as a man of industry, I know this is the most important thing, to have the right place, the right environment to start your project, and it is there.
So how is that initiative going to localize new industries in Egypt, and is it going to maybe inspire the new beginners who are being boosted by this particular initiative, as the idea of this initiative is IBDA or commence. So it's going to inspire the new beginners for new ideas, or maybe simplified ideas for starting new businesses?
Yeah. By the way, actually, we should not, we should actually care for what we have at hand. Right now, we have in our country a very clever youth, very clever generations, very clever industrialists, young men and older, and those who are looking and searching for developing their career, and they are taking their business seriously. Then you will find on the ground a lot of scientific and industrial and technological initiatives, which will actually, when it is materialized in a form of project, it will be very, very successful. I am sure of this, and there are a lot of evidence on what I'm saying, especially when you go around and get it to the industrial areas, industrial communities. So when it comes to this point, even new ideas can be taken care of, can be developed, and then why not we can get into a start and see what we can do. The most important thing is that you have a viable, you have to do as an entrepreneur. I mean, you have to do your role, you have to do your homework, you have to be ready taking the chance, ready for taking the risk, ready to dedicate all your life for success of your project. And you will find the capacity and you will find the encouragement from everyone around you. And it is not just blah, blah, blah. It's true. The banks now are there. I mean, if we talk at the big issues, financial is there. There is now financial support. When it comes to technological support, there is, and facilities, when it comes to important facilities like, of course, having the energy, the other materials required, facilitating for you to have to start and to go ahead. The only thing you have to be ready to get a good start and develop your start.
Right. You talked about financial support, logistics support, and also technological support, all types of supports. Let's talk about the financial support. How is that going to work in that particular initiative, IBDA?
Yes. Now, the financial support, I would mention one of the biggest and the most important of them, and the largest. His Excellency President Sisi in the inauguration of this show and, discussing celebrating the first 100 years of establishing the Federation of Egyptian Industries. When he showed everybody there that for IBDA, the government itself, is ready to participate, is going to get even up to 50% into the project. The only thing is you must prove that there is a viable project, a feasible project. That's in itself, that's the maximum you can have. You will get the support of the government in the form of partnership without intervention, of course, of that source, But this is important because this will be a finance. And even anything related to finance assistance. That's in my opinion, is great thing. And I hope a lot of projects may have the success story to get into this partnership with the government. The other thing is that when it comes to the financial institutions, there is an initiative for allocating, the initiative includes allocating 200 billion Egyptian pounds to help in all aspects of help or assistance needed for boosting this initiative. Other things, the banks itself, they have some certain schedules for what you call easy lending and easy borrowing for a feasible project supposed to be in the process of operation. In this case, what else you need? You need financial is there, the environment is there, the regulation is helping there. So the only thing is that I'm waiting, I hope, that to find the response among the business community, industrialists and then business community to get into this initiative.
Right. Let's talk about the importance of the small industries and the small businesses and in any country, and how important is it to make big economies. Countries like China, for example, Malaysia and other countries are mainly depending on small businesses. So talking about empowering the young entrepreneurs and also the small-scaled entrepreneurs, how important is it?
Well, the modern history, actually, let's say for the last 3 or 4 decades, for the last half century, since the 50s, most of the developing countries at that time, including the names which you mentioned, China and the other countries in Asia, and, they called the tigers of Asia at that time, They relied totally, no, not totally actually, there's some others, there were big projects actually, or big enterprises. But mainly it was small and medium enterprises, according to the scale and according to the standards later on to be set, because it might be different from one country to another. But anyway, generally, when you talk about small enterprises or small industries, small setups, it will be actually for components, for feeding, to serve another big industry. And in this case, it will be a part of a feeding industry, the feeding industry's supply chain. The more you have a target to have an end product with a lot of small parts or components, many components, then immediately you can have a successful parallel industry, which in this case is the small ones, which will be dedicated to manufacturing or producing some certain parts, either one part or more than one part, to feed certain industry or industries, not only one. That's the importance. In this case, immediately, your product is needed, and then you are sure that you are selling it, if you talk in economy terms. Then meanwhile, you want to increase because the demand is getting more and more. And meanwhile, you are building up your capacity even to get larger when it comes to small and medium enterprise. There are a lot of stories where small and medium enterprises went into medium, small went to medium and then large scale. That's the importance, Without small and medium enterprises, at least, still this phenomena is valid, still, because a lot of things are, in a way or another, affecting the small and medium enterprises, in the sense that, mechanization and fully automation is another element which is competing, but also for good, not for bad. So anyway, that's what I wanted to actually emphasize when it comes to the importance of small and medium enterprise, especially the small enterprise.
So what are the conditions on which I could be granted the benefits of such an initiative? Whom is it directed to, and on what conditions? Are there any regulations or conditions that's supposed to be provided by the one who is asking for a grant or something?
You mean we are start from scratch? We will have a project. We want to have. We have a project. We want to materialize it into an industry, small or medium. Yes, this is what you mean.
Exactly.
Yeah?
I'm talking. I'm actually talking about the conditions that are supposed to be.
Yes. I just wanted to make sure that we are talking about this exactly. So, the viability of a project is something nobody can judge unless a professional or the professional entity, aware of the market conditions, aware of the technological aspects, aware of the requirements of the market, local market, and even the international market for this specific product of that project. So it must pass by all this. And it's not a big deal because we have experts in all fields of industry. Believe me, we have great experts everywhere. Egypt is full of brains, and capacities and talents. So in this case, it should be approved. Approved by an entity well renowned with its, credibility. And then you follow up after that. You will find everything because the viability of the project is something very important. Of course, nobody can say 100% you can make sure of it, but at least the figures and the indicators, the main indicators of success must be there. Number one of them is the availability of the raw materials required, the availability of labor and management, the machinery required, the availability, and then, of course, the level of those who are running, the entrepreneur who will be running this business.
Right. And of course, together with other initiatives of that like, do you think that this is going to change the map, the economic map of Egypt?
Absolutely.
In what way?
Just lately, it comes by nature and through truth on the ground. Just lately, few weeks ago, few days ago, we had this biggest conference on climate change. And out of this conference and through it, and everybody now shows that there is a horizon, a big, large horizon to start and initiate a lot of business, a lot of industries, a lot of services related to the issue of, managing the climate change. And most of them is industry, is industrial in the essence itself, we, by nature and thank God, we have a lot of merit to be leaders in this space, in this area,
Exactly.
especially when it comes to the renewable energy of the solar sun, of the solar energy, and the wind energy especially, and of course the hydrogen, the green hydrogen. The details of this is many. There are too many details about it.
Right.
But the possibility and the feasibility is there. So I think this again will increase the potential of the progress, the potential of industry in Egypt. It's a new horizon. I hope we catch it and we can manage it.
Right. On that note, Dr. Mustafa Waly, our economic expert, would like to thank you, sir, talking to The Breakfast Show. You have a beautiful day. We're going to go to a short break and we'll come to continue The Breakfast Show, so stay with us.